Hey guys, my voice is gonna be a little scratching coming in and out here. I'm still sick and my voice is starting to go a little bit here. But today after FOMOC, we had another basically major support test, which is this right here at 370.5. As you can see, I actually highlighted it today with this channel right here in the red. You can see that all this trading happened right here, and actually, interesting enough, 2 days after the last FOMOC, which is right here, is when we established this top. And we spent a lot of time down here. We did have a little breakout here, and then that fell back down. But a lot of the trading in the last, really since the last FOMOC, has happened down in this range. So that's something I'm keeping in mind. And I'm actually with this now 4 days in a row, and especially 3 days of pretty large selling off, all the way from 390 now down to closing at 371. This looks like a potential bounce point. I don't know if it'll stick, but I do think we're going to come back up, whether it's tomorrow or early next week, and retest this 378 resistance. We kind of just went through this channel so quickly here, which we did the same thing back here. Eventually, I do think we're going to come up and retest it, kind of like we did here. So key resistance support I'm going to watch is if we do break through 370.5, though, is we're going to start looking at 365 and then eventually all the way down here at 360. Resistance, first one will be this 374.65, which we have a gap fill here to 374.76 still, and then eventually 378. If the bulls can get us back over 378, we actually could see a bigger push up. As you can see, we're kind of in this larger diamond pattern, and whichever way breaks first is pretty much where we're going to see the bigger push over the next week or two. Looking at futures, they had a really nice, they held this resistance at 37.70, came all the way down here to 37.05, held the support and bounced pretty aggressively, and we never really broke through that. The one thing I'm going to watch is see if we can continue to hold support here and maybe even get a small double bottom right here at this 37.25, and then look for resistance here at 37.70. Going over to Apple, Apple looked really, really rough today. You can see this 4 days in a row of red now, but 3 huge days of selling off. And Apple is almost all the way back down to the low from the earnings day, which was 336. So something to keep in mind is this 138.2 level here is very key to Apple. You can see how strong this resistance is. This was the other CPI day that we bounced and then came back up. If we can break 138.2, then I'm looking for some pretty good downside here. You can see this black lines right here actually make a really nice falling wedge and gives quite a bit of room where we could go all the way down here into the 120s. The one thing to keep in mind about Apple is that it has not put in a new 52-week low like many of the other tech stocks, and SPY has since the previous June low back here. So Apple is overdue, and there is potential that we could be seeing that form right now, and going into next week with CPI and whatnot, we could actually see that happen. Key resistance, though, is going to be right here at 142.2, and Apple is the only one. I mean, SPY technically didn't fill it by a couple cents, but that didn't actually go back up and try to touch its gap fill. It just pretty much drilled all day long. Going over to Tesla. Tesla is so volatile as usual. You can see it just kind of holding right here. We have this nice 205.6 to 235 4 channel right here. The one thing that happened today is at open, we had a really big push up. Attempted to break through the daily 8 EMA. We rejected. We did break 2-day resistance though. And then we fell back down, found our support at 210, and now we just closed back over this 215. With this doji right here and this really strong support bounce here, I actually see potential for a move back up tomorrow somewhere towards 219.4 to 226. There is potential we could see a breakdown and actually bounce off 205.6 first, but with this resistance line being broken, you can see kind of our upside there. And really, Tesla does have a diamond pattern too. It's a little more widened though, but that is something I'm keeping my eye on for sure. Looking at the VIX, so the VIX continues to unwind. So this was the last June low, and you can see kind of the same trend. It's a little different, but you can just see this steady decline, and this happened all the way to August. So the difference with this is back here when this happened, probably by about this point, we were pushing back up. So this would be back here. We had the June bottom, we went up, kind of consolidated, and then we went up starting July 20th. So July 20th is right here. So we're kind of getting to that point actually on the VIX right now of where we saw SPY just start rocketing up and the VIX just continue to unwind. So if we continue this trend down, now being below that key 25.7, if we start getting down here into the 23, 24 range, we really could see a bigger push up. There just isn't the fear coming back into the market yet, which is kind of interesting because next week is CPI, and perhaps they don't really care about CPI because we know that Jay Powell is going to raise rates regardless. So there's potential that we're just going to see CPI, that initial morning reaction, and just kind of be meh. I mean, there is potential we could with the VIX so low, much like this was the last CPI in September that had that crazy red, like -4% day, that we're going to end up somewhere around this range come CPI, and then we do get that massive drop on a bad CPI reading. We still don't have a consensus out yet on the CPI, so I'm very patiently waiting for that so I can kind of see where we're going to be. Looking at crypto, we finally closed back below the daily 8 EMA here on Bitcoin, holding this nice 21.2 support right here. You can see that that's a pretty old support line right here actually. They're going to try to break back through 20.3 and try to eventually go back up here to 20.8. If we lose or reject right here and SPY starts selling off, we could end up going back down here to the 19s. However, holding the 20 and 50 EMA right here, I actually do see potential we could come back up and test the 100, which would also be bullish for SPY. I'll talk about it more tomorrow, but I do wonder if we're going to see a nice bounce right here and kind of a push up going into CPI next week. You can kind of see the same thing. This was Jackson Hole, kind of had a sell-off, and then we pushed up the 4 days into CPI before we got that crazy September CPI. So there's a potential we could see a nice rally forming right now too. Kind of get back up in this green channel. All right, hope you guys had a good day trading. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning into this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button to stay updated. I am providing my Discord link right here. That's the lifetime link. If it doesn't work, go ahead and send me a message and I will get you a new link. I do have a pre-market update I do every day where I update with supports and resistances and different scenarios that might play out through the day. I also do a live commentary throughout the day with updates and changes, and I do push out buy and sell alerts on SPY and other tickers that I'm trading at the time. Currently, membership is $20 per month or $228 per year. You can follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok under SPY Optionaire or Reddit under Daddy Dirsch.